The boss left the safe open to test the maid, but she did the unthinkable. That safe is going to sit wide open all day. I want to see what that slum girl does with the temptation, Anthony said, chuckling to himself as he positioned the last hidden camera in the office. He adjusted the angle, checked the recording, and shut the door. Outside, the routine buzzed along like any other day, but inside that room, the trap was already set. The safe, deliberately left open, showed stacks of cash piled up like bait. Anthony checked the camera screen one more time and muttered with contempt, "Let's see if that little maid is as honest as she pretends to be." Minutes later, Brenda walked in with a bucket, rags, and a mop, just like every day. On her shoulders, she carried the weight of supporting her daughter, paying the rent, and keeping her dignity in a place where her presence was always viewed with side-eye. At first, she didn't notice anything unusual. The routine was exhausting, and all she wanted was to finish fast so she wouldn't miss the bus. She stepped into the office, glanced at the mess on the floor, straightened the desk, and only then noticed the safe door ajar. Her eyes widened, surprised, but she didn't go near it. She froze for a second. Instinct told her to walk away, but the routine spoke louder. Someone must have forgotten it. "Better not go anywhere near it," she whispered to herself. She dusted the shelves, swept the corners, wiped the glass desktop gently. Not once did her fingers go anywhere close to the safe. She didn't even look inside. She knew the kind of people she worked for. She knew any slip, any wrong step could be used against her. Hours later, with the workday almost over, Anthony appeared in the hallway wearing a satisfied smile. He had his phone in hand and a look that mixed mockery with cruelty. He snapped his fingers to call everyone to the front desk and, once they were gathered, shouted with a firm voice and fake outrage, "Caught another one! You're going straight from here to the precinct!" Silence dropped like a curtain. All eyes turned to Brenda, who was still putting the cleaning supplies away in the closet. She frowned, confused. "What do you mean?" she asked, taking a step forward. "What are you talking about?" Anthony walked up to her and pointed a finger like he was facing a criminal. "You think I'm an idiot? The safe was full of cash. And now, surprise, something's missing," he said, raising his voice with each word. "Thought nobody would notice, that you'd just walk out like nothing happened." "I didn't touch anything. The safe was already open when I walked in," Brenda shouted in shock. He ignored her. "Search her." "Now," he ordered 2 security guards. "Right in front of everybody. I want everyone to see who they've been working next to." The room went ice cold. No one dared to react. The guards stepped up and started searching Brenda right there. No respect, no care. "Please don't. I have a daughter. This is a mistake," Brenda begged, trying to protect what little dignity she had left. They ignored her. One told her to open her bag. Another went through the pockets of her smock. A third pointed at her shoes. "Take them off, now." Brenda obeyed, feeling everyone's eyes weighing on her. Arms up. She hesitated. Then she took a breath and raised them. With jerky gestures, they patted her down over her clothes. A muffled laugh slipped out from somewhere. From a distance, someone hid a phone and recorded everything. No one stepped in. No one said a word. Brenda shut her eyes. She wanted to disappear. They found nothing. Absolutely nothing. "See? I don't have anything on me," Brenda said, out of breath, tears already streaming down. Anthony folded his arms and answered, cold as ice. "Of course not. You must have stashed it somewhere. But that doesn't matter. You're fired. For cause." He turned to the others and added in a showy, scandalized tone, "That's what happens when you hire people with no references. Thief. Slum trash. Now get out before I have you cuffed right here." Brenda tried to explain. "I never stole anything. I swear I just did my job." But nobody wanted to hear it. The crowd was already convinced. The whispers started. The disgusted looks multiplied. She walked out of the building in tears, eyes down, feeling heavy footsteps behind her like sentences being passed. Out on the street, she called her daughter's school to pick her up early, but the response was icy. For security reasons, her little girl had been temporarily suspended until the mother's situation was clarified. "Security for who?" Brenda asked, her voice breaking. "My daughter never hurt anyone." On the other end, the receptionist simply repeated the protocol, indifferent. "These are instructions from the principal. We've already received images and videos circulating." "The school has to protect the other students." Brenda hung up, speechless. She stood there on the sidewalk, phone still in her hand, heart in pieces, and she understood in that instant. Anthony had already spread everything. In a few hours, his version was everywhere. He was quick, efficient, cruel. He knew how to destroy someone with the look of innocence and the power of an influential name. When she got home, the confirmation came in the sideways glances peeking through the building's windows. Low voices whispered behind curtains. "That's her, the thief from Anthony's company." Some people looked away. Others stared with contempt, like they were looking at a criminal. On the gate, an overdue power bill flapped, taped there. The rent was 2 months late. And now, with no job, no references, no support, her daughter barred from school and her reputation in ruins, nothing felt possible. Brenda cried, sitting on the kitchen floor, face buried in her hands. "Mum, why are you crying?" her daughter asked softly, coming closer. Brenda pulled her in for a tight hug. "Because everything's hard right now, baby. But you're here, and that alone keeps me going." The little girl rested her head on her chest. And for a moment, even with everything falling apart, that hug held the world together. The next day, Brenda gathered her courage and went to the police station. "I want to file a report. I was falsely accused, forced to be searched, and fired without cause," she told the officer on duty. But when they pulled up her name in the system, the response was immediate. "You already have a report here, theft and making threats. It was filed yesterday by Anthony." Brenda couldn't breathe. "What do you mean? He got to them first?" The officer confirmed, indifferent. "It's already in the system. He even brought footage. Said he's being stalked, that you threatened him after you were fired." She collapsed into the chair. "That's a lie! All of it is a lie! He set me up, he's destroying me!" But no one listened. His complaint was filed, backed by videos, cut, manipulated, edited to make it look like she tried to steal. That same day, the neighborhood group chats were packed with his version. Video clips, twisted messages, lines yanked out of context. "Watch out for the thief in the building," they said. "Now she's threatening the boss. People like that have no limits." A classmate's mom said she was scared to let her daughter play with people like that. Gates started closing. Invitations stopped coming. The phone went quiet. The bills piled up. Desperate, Brenda remembered Olivia, a former co-worker who'd been fired months earlier under equally strange circumstances. They were never close, but they shared a look of recognition, like people carrying the same burden. She found Olivia in a makeshift salon in her backyard, where she cut hair to get by. "I need to talk to you. Please hear me out," Brenda said, her voice trembling. Olivia set the scissors down and looked at her, tense. "He did it to you too, didn't he?" Brenda nodded, and then the whole story poured out, from the safe to the police station. Olivia listened in silence, then pulled an old box from under the sink. Inside were clippings, notes, crumpled scraps of paper. "He's been doing this for years," she said, her voice tight with anger. "Always to women like us, alone, vulnerable. He records everything, says it's a trust test. But it's not just that. He sells these videos." Brenda's eyes went wide. "He sells them? What do you mean he sells them?" Olivia explained with disgust in her voice. There's a private group, businessmen, his buddies. They bet on who'll take the bait. They laugh. They compare our reactions. It's a game to them. Brenda's stomach flipped. That's sick. That's criminal. We have to do something. Olivia nodded, but her eyes were heavy. I tried. A security guard at his house helped me. An honest guy, disgusted by what he saw on the cameras, he started slipping me material. That's how I got some evidence. Audio files, spreadsheets, videos. I saved everything on a flash drive and on an old laptop too. Where is he now? Brenda asked, hopeful. They made him disappear. Said he tried to steal from the house, planted evidence, same scheme as always. I never heard from him again. And when I took what I had to the DA's office, they said they couldn't open a case without direct proof. Brenda frowned. Even with the videos? They didn't even watch properly. They dodged, asked where I got it. Then, one witness backed out. Another vanished. I understood right away. They'd been bought or they were scared. Brenda clenched her fists. So he just stays out there, laughing in our faces, wrecking lives like it's a joke. Olivia met her eyes. I got scared, Brenda. I hid everything. I hid myself, but maybe now it's time to try again. She went to the back of a closet, pulled out a little plastic box wrapped in tape, and handed Brenda a flash drive. It's all here. If he hasn't managed to destroy this yet, maybe there's still a chance. Brenda gripped the flash drive like it was a key to getting her life back. She thanked Olivia silently, eyes brimming. That night, she slept with it tucked under her pillow, heart pounding, mind racing to plan the next step. But 2 days later, before she could do anything with the evidence, masked men broke into her home while she was at the market. They kicked in the door, took her phone and documents, tore the place apart. The neighbor who saw it didn't want to get involved. I didn't see anything, didn't hear anything, he said, arms crossed coldly. When Brenda got back, everything was upside down. Clothes on the floor, drawers ripped out, mattresses flipped. Her daughter was shaking, curled up in the bathroom. Mum, I thought they were going to hurt me, Brenda cried, hugging her daughter, feeling despair flood her veins like poison. But the worst was yet to come. 3 days later, the police knocked. Brenda, you're under arrest. Charges, extortion, breaking and entering, and coercion. She couldn't make sense of it. This is a mistake. I'm the victim. It didn't matter. They cuffed her right there in front of her daughter while 2 officers searched the house and a social worker walked in, clipboard in hand. She's coming with me, the woman said, grabbing the child's backpack. No, please, no, she's my daughter. We have nowhere to leave her. This is standard protocol in these cases. The little girl clung to her mother's legs. Mum, don't let them take me. I want to stay with you. On her knees, even handcuffed, Brenda tried to hold her close. I love you, baby. Mom's going to fix this, I promise. No, please take me with you. But they pulled her away. The child screamed, fought, sobbing, and Brenda watched it all with no power to stop it. She was taken into custody to await trial, while her daughter was sent to a shelter like a package no one wanted to carry. The world she knew had collapsed. Her dignity ripped away. Her daughter gone. The truth ignored. All she had left was pain and a thin hope that somewhere, someone still believed her. On TV, Anthony wept in an exclusive interview. I'm being harassed by unstable former employees. I tried to help, to give them jobs, but now they're threatening me, trying to extort me. I just want justice. His words were fake tears that burned like acid on Brenda's skin, and the worst part was knowing that to the outside world he sounded convincing. Olivia spent days in silence, pacing her tiny yard, staring into nothing like she was trying to hear an answer that wouldn't come. Ever since the police took Brenda away, fear had crept back inside her. She thought about giving up, deleting everything, ditching the evidence, and pretending none of it had ever happened. Maybe it's better to forget before I'm next, she murmured to herself, voice tight. But when she saw a news segment on TV, Anthony giving yet another interview, playing the victim, crying like he was the one being hunted, something inside her finally snapped. She slammed the TV off and murmured, "Enough. He's not going to destroy anyone else." That same night, she tore through an old closet. Behind dusty boxes and musty linens, she found what she was looking for, a beat-up laptop with a cracked screen and a failing keyboard. That's where she'd saved copies months ago, back when she still had the strength to fight. After so many failed attempts, fears and retreats, she'd left it all in a drawer, like a dead piece of the past. She tried to power it on right there, but the screen didn't even flicker. "No, not now," she muttered, squeezing her eyes shut. The next morning, she took the laptop to a little repair booth behind a pharmacy. The tech looked it over and said he needed 2 days. "If there's anything to save, I'll save it, but it's in rough shape," he said, carefully maneuvering the cables. She spent those 2 days praying the files could be recovered. If that laptop was dead, it was over. On the afternoon of the 3rd day, the tech called. "I got it. System's back. There's a lot of video on here. Heavy stuff." Olivia rushed to pick it up. She took the laptop home, plugged it in, and felt her heart pound when the screen finally lit. There were the folders. Video files, saved audio, spreadsheets with dates and names. She covered her mouth as she realized it was all still there. The evidence Anthony thought he'd erased for good was back in front of her. She copied everything to 2 flash drives, hid one in the medicine box, grabbed the other, and went to the only attorney left in her trusted contacts. He was a serious man, not very social, a small office, but eyes that saw past words. Olivia handed over the flash drive and watched in silence as he plugged it in. "Before you hit play, I just want you to know this is all real. People are suffering because of this man," she said, staring straight at him. The attorney opened one video and fell quiet. Then he watched another and another. With each clip, indignation tightened his face. The scenes clearly showed Anthony staging situations, placing cash in plain sight, grinning at the cameras while narrating disgusting bets about the women's reactions. In one clip, he laughed and said, "If she doesn't steal, I'll shave my head. Bet she at least grabs a bill." When the attorney paused the video, he took a long breath. "This is monstrous," he said. "And it's more than enough to open a criminal case. But we have to move carefully. He's powerful, and he won't go down easy. Brenda's in jail. Her daughter got sent to a shelter. They have nothing left. We need to do something fast," Olivia said, her voice shaking. "I'll file the complaint tomorrow," he replied. "But don't tell anyone, absolutely no one, and keep the other copy somewhere safe." The next day he filed the paperwork, but the complaint required a preliminary hearing to review the evidence. They set it for 3 weeks out. During that time, Olivia kept her head down, only left the house for essentials, and spoke to the attorney via messages. Everything seemed under control. Until on the eve of the hearing, the phone rang with devastating news. His car was robbed. They took the documents, the laptop, the flash drive. Then they torched the vehicle, the attorney's secretary said, voice trembling. "He's okay, just shaken up. He said whoever did it knew exactly what they were after." Olivia dropped onto the bed, feeling the floor give way beneath her. He knew this would happen. How did they find him so fast? "It wasn't a regular robbery," the secretary said. "They didn't take his wallet or watch, only the files." In that moment, Olivia understood Anthony was more alert than ever, and once again, he'd struck before anyone could expose him. Crying with rage, she called the attorney. He answered, voice heavy. "We have to start over," he said, "but I'm still with you. We just need a different DA's office, somewhere not in that creep's pocket." He paused. Write this name down. A prosecutor out of town. She's helped women in similar cases. Discreet, trustworthy. Olivia didn't quit. After sleepless days, she convinced a prosecutor to review the case. She kept everything secret, told no one. Not even Brenda, who was still locked up, unaware that, for the first time, something was shifting. She arranged to meet the prosecutor out of town in a neutral spot and brought the second flash drive. The prosecutor watched the videos in total silence. When they finished, she looked at Olivia, steady. If this all checks out, he's going to pay for every tear he's caused, but we have to move carefully. I'll file the case under seal. If he finds out, he'll try to bury it again. Olivia nodded, hands clenched. He's destroyed enough lives. For weeks, the prosecutor worked quietly, gathering more evidence, speaking to other former employees, taking statements under anonymity. Anthony, meanwhile, kept up his public routine as a model citizen, giving interviews, attending events, selling his image as a boss obsessed with morals. But then something shifted, a small leak. One video surfaced on an anonymous blog, then a second popped up in a whistleblower group. Within hours, the videos were everywhere, not edited, full length. Humiliating scenes, brazen laughter, disgusting bets made by Anthony and his friends. Bet she cries in under 2 minutes, he said in one audio. Outrage flooded social media. Newspapers started asking questions. TV shows replayed the clips. The press demanded answers. Anthony tried to put out the fire. He hired a PR team, published rebuttals, tried to deny the footage, but it was too late. More victims came forward, women with nearly identical stories. Abrupt firings, baseless accusations, public humiliation. The prosecutor decided to move. She attached over 40 formal complaints to the case and called a full hearing. That day, the courtroom was packed. Anthony showed up in an expensive suit, surrounded by lawyers, trying to keep his cool. He greeted reporters with his usual fake humility. "I'm calm. I trust the justice system," he said, as if he still controlled the narrative. But it all collapsed when the first video played on the big screen. Then the second, the third, the fourth. Each one showed the setups, the baiting, the wagers with stark clarity. Each laugh of his landed like a punch. The audience, furious, couldn't hold back their reactions. Some people cried, others shouted in anger. Then came the testimonies. Brenda spoke with a steady voice, even as her heart raced. She described being searched in front of everyone, losing her job, her daughter, her dignity. Olivia cried as she recalled the days these memories haunted her. Other victims revealed how they'd been coerced into signing resignation letters. The judge listened without interrupting. The prosecutor made sure to repeat every detail, to show every frame, every recorded conversation, every vile audio clip. Anthony tried to defend himself. He said it was all a setup, that the videos were old, that they'd been manipulated, that he was the target of a conspiracy. "They're disgruntled, unstable employees," he said. "They're trying to get revenge because they were fired." But no one believed him anymore. The mask had fallen. The evidence was undeniable. The judge read the sentence firmly, without hesitation. 22 years in prison for stalking, public humiliation, abuse of power, coercion, and criminal conspiracy. Silence broke with a sob. It was Brenda. But this time, it wasn't from pain. She was declared innocent, awarded damages for defamation, harassment, and emotional distress. Custody of her daughter was restored immediately. The little girl ran into her mother's arms outside the courthouse, and they hugged as applause rose around them. Months later, with part of the settlement money, Brenda opened her own company. It wasn't just any company. She hired only women whose lives had been wrecked by abusive bosses and by a system that always took the stronger side. Each one got a uniform, a proper contract, health benefits, and respect. At the office entrance, Brenda hung a framed line she wrote herself. "Every injustice was a stone. Now we have a castle." If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, give it a like, and activate the notification bell so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. See you in the next story.